ship.
With what?
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
How did we get to America? On ships, right? So did everybody on the earth go into slavery on ships? Who went into slavery on ships, brother? That's right.
Crazy.
For yourself, know perfectly that the day of the Lord is coming as a thief in the night.
What?
As a thief in the night.
Thief in the night.
Right.
The Lord is gonna come as a thief in the night, man. Nobody knows when the Lord is gonna come back. Right. Nobody knows.
This the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Right, the wisdom of the Lord, man, right, and the wisdom of life is more moving than any emotion, man, right? And that's what the Lord has given us to speak to our people, man, right? And that thing is gonna move you more than anything, man, right? It's gonna move you more than damn weed, right? It's gonna move you more than that damn Hennessy bottle, right? It's gonna sit there and move you more than damn Keisha, Letitia, right? And all these damn heathenistic women, man. Right.
Oh, you're going crazy.
What's going on, King?
Life is good. I was just curious what y'all were up to.
Okay, for sure, right on. Right, what's your name?
My name is Jonte. Everybody calls me Sean because it's easier.
Okay, so I can call you Sean?
Yes, peace.
Alright, cool. Right. My name's Lamont. Lamont. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Lamont.
Alright, nice to meet you as well. So, what we got going on up here is really fulfilling the words of the Lord and doing as He instructed us to do. You understand? He told us as His servants, right? Let me get Luke 14:23. As His servants, we must come out here and teach our people and encourage our people to come back to the fold. You understand? Go to Proverbs chapter 10.
Luke 14 and verse 23. It reads thus. And he said it to, and the Lord said it to the servants, go out into the highways and hedges.
It said what?
Go out into the highways and hedges.
See, and we go out to the chief concourses of places because that's what's considered the highways and the hedges. You travel on a highway is what? A lot of volume on the highway, you understand?
Right.
It's not just a couple of cars, it's not just a couple of people, it's a lot of volume that's on the highways, man. And that's why we assert ourselves, right, or insert ourselves, I should say, right, in the chief concourse of places, man, in order to teach and build up our nation of people, you understand? Because as the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, do we have a leader, brother? Do we have somebody advocate for us on a day-to-day basis?
They killed him. I think the last one was Nipsey Hussle. They killed him.
Yeah, but look, let me tell you something, right? Because Nipsey Hussle, though he grew up around a lot of us, when I say us, I'm talking about African American so-called, right? He's actually Ethiopian.
Right. To let you know, I'm Cherokee and Lenape.
Okay.
French. All right. So the Lenape are the ones that got tricked into selling Manhattan. The Cherokee, you know what happened to them? They put everybody else's tribe into them because they had a really weak treaty.
Right.
Like I had 180 acres that was taken from me from the military, so my inheritance is gone.
Wow.
What I've read, like their old newspapers, like stuff like that. What I've read is that the tribes that were here, like the ones that are being called black or negro, which they changed to negro because the misnomer is their thing. Those people were from here, like this continent, right? Like you'll see it at that where they have that big Christmas tree, that monument.
Yeah.
Look, you'll see. We used to call this place Turtle Island, right? Because it's like a sea turtle. First off, we knew that sea turtles existed, so we were not like stupid. We traveled there, but you'll see over there they have light fixtures, like street lights, with 4 turtles carrying them. You know what I mean? And that represents that thing they call the Illuminati. It's just a bunch of old white people that are wealthy and want us to feel like we don't know who we are. All right, so show 4
Carnegie's, the Vanderbilts.
that light, right? All right, and also you'll see up there, right there down the street from here, you'll see they have like bears with stripe with stars on it, with their hands over it. It's supposed to look like they're but really they're being restrained. Those were the northern tribes, the ones that were taken in Canada. You know what I mean? So
I'm in partial agreement with some of what you're saying. But when we go into the Turtle Island and different stuff of that nature, that's a philosophy that just came about not too long ago. That's not something that was originally preached or taught about. You understand? That's a philosophy that kind of just came skating about not too long ago.
I know my heritage. I apologize. I'm not.
Look,
I'm
going to tell you what we agree on.
I'm not Jewish, but I know my heritage, right? Okay, so my Cherokee, like, we called it Turtle Island.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We did. The thing that they've been telling us, like the stuff they've been telling us, is 20% true and a whole lot of lies.
I don't, okay, there is a lot of lies for sure, right? I'm not fully attacking everything that you're saying. That's my point. I just wanted to point out that one thing because I do agree with a lot of what you said. Okay, the Native Americans, right, over, because they're native to this region.
All right, first off, Native American
so-called
was made by the people that called themselves white. When they had a generation that was born on this continent, and our people were saying, you're not from here, stop colonizing our... They came up with the term Native American to say, well, we're from here, we're natives too.
I'm calling them Native American. I'm not trying to insult you or anything like that. I understand. Right.
I don't feel insulted.
I'm just saying, no. When I say Native Americans, I'm saying it in the sense of layman's terms where we both are on an even playing field. We both understand what we know, what we're saying, basically. You understand? So it's just that we can have a common understanding.
Yeah.
You may call your people one thing, right? I refer to them as the Gad or Reubenites. Gadites or Reubenites. Because they would descend from the children of, they would descend from Israel, who was Jacob, Yaquab on the Hebrew.
So Jacob got this continent, is that what you're saying? Because I know that there's tribes of Israel in Africa.
Yeah. Okay, what you'll come to learn, go to Deuteronomy 4:27 real quick. What you'll come to learn is that Israel, his descendants, you understand, or his seed line was passed all throughout the earth.
Right.
You understand? We've been scattered all throughout the earth. So it's not one particular landmass in where we rested other than Israel. And that was time and time ago.
Right.
Go ahead, read this.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 27.
Bring it out.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations.
It said what?
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations.
Right, go ahead.
And ye shall be left few in number among the heathen.
Right.
Whither the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve, and there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands,
right.
Wood and stone.
It said what?
Wood and stone.
Right, so when we're reading about this prophecy in the Bible, the Lord is literally telling us that Israelites were going to be scattered all throughout the earth. And we were going to be serving idols, the image of man's hands.
Yeah, that book you have.
Right.
There's books missing, right? So the actual second book that belongs in that.
We actually about to come out, read it.
It tells us that people are going to take the writings,
right,
teaches us our history. They're going to rewrite them. They're going to make us believe something different. They're going to take our culture and they're going to try to tell us it's their own.
Okay,
you know
real
That's
quick.
What's happening right now. But I see on the corners out there, there's a new Bible being sold, right?
What's that?
You know what I mean, they changed it around a bit. And like, what is it? The
New King James Version,
like 23 books, and then they changed again, and they got like some more books. This one has 66. The one they're preaching on the corner right now. You'll see them all around the city. They'll say Bible, what is it? Bible tutoring, or we'll teach you how to understand the Bible. But they changed like the name of Jesus. They call it Yahweh.
Okay.
And there are books that were never in the Bible. They're now. And the books that were removed weren't put back in. And that's what really ticks me off, because the original Bible had 66 books. And then King James rearranged it. And then this one has 66 books too, but the books, the chapters that were removed, put new ones in.
We don't subscribe to that because King James actually, he left the Bible unchanged, right? As far as, only thing he did was transliterate the Bible through the scholars that he put into office, right? Put into place.
Because
Why do you say that?
Because it was his goal to use religion to keep the people from uprising against the wealthy, which was he and his family.
Let me ask you a question.
He changed the Bible in ways where it tells you like you should worship, if you're a slave, you should worship your master as though you were your God.
Okay.
You should obey him as though you were your God.
Right. We're reading out of the King James Version, you know that, right?
That's what he did. What is that?
I said we're reading out of the King James Version, you know that, right?
I hear you.
Okay.
So there are parts that are true, and parts that are not. These people who call themselves white, not people that have white skin, but people from these tribes. Some of them are white skin.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Call themselves white. They use what they call misnomers, like calling us black or calling us African American.
It's a play on words.
That's a misnomer. That's misnaming somebody.
Yeah, of course.
They used to call us indigo. Did you know that? like our skin, like first off, your skin color is not dark because of melanin.
Right.
It's dark because of the element of carbon. Right. Our
So,
skin
real
is so
quick,
rich with carbon that we absorb all the light from the sun except for the color between blue and violet.
Right. Sean.
That's why they call us Indian.
We're going through a lot of points right now. I just want to tackle this one. Okay, with King James, we want to get, because we have to establish that. We're coming out of the King James Version Bible. So I don't want you to sit there and think that certain things that I bring out are just not true and to none effect because you don't subscribe to King James.
Right.
We have to get to a clear understanding that King James, what do you think King James as was his nationality or ethnicity?
Europe was dark-skinned people before the ones that called themselves white took it over. That's what the Dark Ages was about. They was sacking all of the European nations.
Right.
You know what I mean? The island, the one that they say that makes the continent of Asia, the East, and they're the West. Like that island, Britain, that was us. Big Ben is named after somebody darker than me.
Okay. So what would your answer be?
How do you will you repeat the question? Because I don't think that I heard you correctly.
I said King James. What would you subscribe to his nationality being?
Yeah, he was of the earth. He was worldly. He was of the earth.
So you would say he was a so-called black man?
Yeah, you know, we call the people that call themselves white.
I'll try going without it.
Okay.
When like the Bible says of a lot, like people are of this, you know what I mean? Of this.
All right.
That means that you came from that.
What if Psalm chapter 68 verse 1?
People that came from this world, we call it world, not earth. People that came from this world, worldly people, that's us. That's the people that are the color of the earth, right?
Okay, yeah, Job 30 and 30 also kind of goes into that, right? But let's bring this out real quick because now I gotta ask another question actually.
Yes.
Right, so now that we have that understanding, you say that King James, can you re-enunciate that point from what you made? You said that he made or he changed certain things to benefit the wealthy?
Yeah, because
why do you say that?
The fear of wealthy people is that poor people will communicate with each other
so what do
and unite and overturn their wealth. That's their fear. So what they do is they try to divide us through skin color, through class, through age, through whatever they can come up with to make us more divided.
So what do you feel like exactly that he changed within the Bible? What do you feel like he altered?
Like he put in verses that that condone slavery. Like he put in
why do you think that?
He put in.
Can you prove that though?
I don't know the book. I know the verse. I've read it before. I've read 3 different verses.
Right, but he didn't start that.
It said that a slave in this book that you read, it said that a slave should obey its master as though it were its God.
But you see, the thing is that you're altering. Your understanding is a little bit flawed in a way that you're colluding King James' works and efforts with what the white man did.
But that's what I read it. The King James version of the Bible when I was in
Job 9 and 24.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I read.
But you have to understand that the slave Bible, they took away many chapters and even whole books out of there just to sit there and to twist on the words. That was the doing of the so-called white man.
Right.
King James didn't do such a thing, you understand?
Right.
King James, all he did, I got you, Con. Right, and I got you too. Right? King James, the only thing that he did was authorize the transliteration of the Bible from the Greek and the Hebrew. Right? Because the Septuagint was written in what? Greek. The Septuagint.
Septuagint. I don't know this word. Will you explain?
The Septuagint, right, is just a transliteration, right, of the New Testament, or the New Testament basically. It was written in Greek, right? And part of the Old Testament, if I'm not mistaken, right? But the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, right? And these different things had to be transliterated. So you understand? It was 47 scholars that did the efforts.
I know about the 47 scholars.
Right, but you got a point.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you how to spell it too. It's SEPTUAGINT, Septuagint. And it was an authorization of the Old Testament also. Now, brother, you are very wise, brother. You're very intelligent. The only thing we want to do is just add to that wisdom and just give you a little bit more insight.
Right. I'm not trying to argue.
Right.
I don't want to argue.
And I feel that. I feel like this is an intelligent conversation that we have.
Dialogue. That's it.
So when you mentioned that particular verse that was, you said it was added, but
Born in 1980.
right. All praise to the Most High. That's mighty. What I want to give you is an insight on that that particular verse, when it was written in ancient times. A lot of people in ancient times, they wanted to be servants. They would agree into a life of servitude, and that's explained in the laws also in Deuteronomy, that there are certain agreements that people will enter into so that they can eat. There was famine going on. Some people didn't have the ability to take care of themselves, so they would enter into an agreement with the household that had these things so that they could eat and take care of their families. So when you see that verse, it's not that it was added, it was a law, right, for a servant to look to that master that they entered into an agreement with. And as a matter of fact, you see that being prevalent with the indentured servitude between the Irish, right? When the Irish came over, they would enter into these agreements with the Europeans, right, to work for them for a certain amount of time. They used that law.
Slave traders, a lot of them were black.
The European slave traders?
A lot of them were darker.
Were they us or were they from an African tribe?
I don't know what tribe they were from. The slave trade in general really started in what we call the Middle East today.
Right. I don't want to go all the way around. I just want to explain that to you.
We can touch on that in a second.
The people that were enslaved,
That was it. Right. So yeah,
people that got us in the indentured
we can touch on that. We can touch on that.
They were dark skinned.
We can touch on that. I just want to deal with one point at a time, though. That's all. Right. So we still on the King James topic.
I'm listening.
The brother had a point too as well. I wanted to make sure he got that. Right, but the brother broke down that, beautifully through the Spirit, right? It's just talking about what was referred to in the law, right? That's all Paul was re-emphasizing when he was talking about that in the book of Ephesians, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the book. Thank you very much.
Right, when he was talking about that, he was referring to the law in the Old Testament, right? And entering into that agreement. Go ahead with yourself.
So you was talking about King James, his translation, he translated it to cater towards the rich, right? But
that's what it was.
Well, right here, the decree of the Council of Toll House in 1229 CE, the Roman Catholics forbade the translation. This is the decree of the Council of Toll House in 1229 CE, saying we Roman Catholics are forbidding of the translation of these books, the New Testament and the Old Testament. Right, that was in 1229 CE. The reason why King James is so slandered is because he went against that power, the Roman Catholic conglomerate, and he chose to still translate the Bible, and he didn't translate it and change what was written. He actually, it's called, what is it called? It's called, I can get that for you too. The formal equivalence. That's the translation of the King James. It's a formal equivalence. This is close to a literal translation as you will ever find, right? But why you believe he changed it to cater to rich people is because something called, appeal to common belief, right? The appeal to common belief is the bandwagon fallacy that is sometimes called the appeal to common belief or appeal to the masses, because it's all about getting people to do or think something because everyone else is doing it. That's why you have folks that believe King James was a white man, even though he descends from a line of stewards. And if you go into the etymology of steward, those are descriptions for black people, like the word tawny or swarthy, all describing brothers, all describing black people.
What did he say?
But the appeal to common belief is why many of us think he was a white man. Also, why many of us think that he was a homosexual man.
Right. That's the thing. I didn't know that was the thing.
But I have to point something out that you have to understand the significance of his character being assassinated. They assassinate the character of our people that's trying to do something or deliver a certain type of knowledge to our people. They did it with Malcolm X, they did it with Martin Luther King, they did it with Marcus Garvey, they do it with all of our leaders. They find a way to assassinate their character so that we, as their people, choose not to believe what they're preaching. Right? What you got to do.
Right. Father's contract back to facility.
Same thing with Prince. Right. Same thing with Prince, right? So yeah. So now we get a good understanding, right, or a true understanding of the King James Version. The source, right? You say, right? We can get it to you at the end.
I read a lot.
That's beautiful.
So, like,
One Revelation 1 and 3.
the reason I know that there were books to talk about.
Okay, hold on.
Right.
They were using Bible. They were don't know what the word is, when you put an imprint instead of like
You're talking about ink?
not
pen and
ink,
ink?
like when you like use metal, you pound an image into
You're talking
it.
about like chisel?
Like like emboss. Like
Okay, oh yeah.
They were embossing images onto the metal and words on the metal to keep the records. And that's how I know that Europe, that England wasn't called Eng. The word Eng, E-N-G, means hang, right? So they changed Britain's name to England, right? And then they started calling it Great Britain once the people that called themselves area, people that called themselves they had a name. It was like a hyphenated name with Europe behind it. They called themselves that, and they changed the name to Great Britain after they took over the whole thing, after they killed all the leaders. But that's the trend, right?
That's the same thing with America. That's the same thing with Africa, right? Africa wasn't originally called Africa, right? It was called the land of Ham, right? And it was changed to what? Africa after the war, the Second Punic War, right? In Hannibal, right? He sat there and changed it after the name of Leo Scipio's Africanus. And they named that landmass after that man. Same thing with the Italian cartographer, right? Who mapped out this landmass, North America, right? Amerigo Vespucci. They took that and named it after him. What is Psalms 49, bro?
So you know they say, look, we've been in slavery for 500 years. Like this country hasn't existed.
You said it hasn't existed for 500 years.
It's not 500 years old.
Tell them, speak up.
So you should know that, right? If you actually go back to our constitutional libraries and look at the newspaper ads and the pictures and the writings that people said about what they were doing, you'll see that there were tribes here on this continent that had Afrikaans spelled with a K. And that was us. You'll see that there was a place on this continent that we called Egypt. You know what I mean? You'll see that the things they teach us in high school and public high school about the Nile River is actually the Mississippi.
That's okay. Yeah, that's like I said, going into that.
I say that to say this. What you were just telling me, some of it I think has been tainted. Like they hijacked our history, and so both of us have like parts that aren't entire.
We still got second entrance real quick, 13 and 40. Right. So now, like I said, I'm not gonna go too deep into it. That's a philosophy that was invented. You know what I'm saying? That just came about recently. Again, these are different things that were not necessarily going on during 400 years ago or 500 years ago. It's not something that was prominent. You understand? Right? We're going to bring out a couple of scriptures real quick because we've been doing a lot of talking. Right? I'm going to go ahead and bring out the words of the Lord.
Sorry.
Right? No, you're all good. You're all good. Right? So, what did you ask? Yeah, you can bring this out real quick and I'm going to bring that up. Right?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11.
Bring it out.
Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever.
Right, go ahead.
And their dwelling places to all generations.
Right?
They call their lands after their own
They
names.
said what?
They call their lands after their own names.
See, and that's the spirit and character of our oppressors.
Who else is?
Right? The European men. Because what do? They divide and conquer. Right? And once they conquer, they establish and put what? Their flag right in the land. And they name those land masses after themselves. And that's a lot of the times what has happened and occurred, you understand? Right? Go to Revelation chapter. No, you don't gotta get that. Right, bring this up.
Book of second address, 13 and verse number 40.
Bring it out.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive.
They said what?
Led away captive.
Go ahead.
He carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
They said what?
They would
Leave the multitude of the heathen.
Right, so this landmass, this is talking about, right, Salmanassar, when it's going into this, is talking about the king of Assyria. right? They took to 10 tribes, right, which would be the northern kingdom, right? And who would be today the Hispanics and the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans,
Bring it up.
right? You said North Israel.
North Israel.
Right? So when I say the northern kingdom, there was a split, there was a divide within the kingdom, right, of Israel after Solomon. You understand? It was the southern kingdom and then it was the northern kingdom.
Right.
Right? So you had, originally, right, it was just Judah and Benjamin. You understand? And Levi, right, they dwelt amongst these tribes because they were the high priests. You understand? They were the descendants of the priests. You understand? And so therefore they sojourned amongst these tribes, but they were chiefly dwelling with the northern kingdom, right? So, and originally there was chiefly dwelling with the northern kingdom, and then ended up coming down to the southern kingdom, right? And that's when you had these three tribes right here. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? And you have these tribes right here, which will be considered the northern kingdom. There was a split and a divide within the kingdom, right? And that's the reason why I was referring to it in that manner, right? So the so-called Hispanics and the so-called Native Americans is who we're talking about right now in this context. You understand? Go ahead and read it again.
But they were like
But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth to a further country where never mankind dwelt.
It said what?
Where never mankind dwelt.
Right, and that region and that landmass in which it's talking about is actually talking about modern day America,
Right.
and South America. You understand? Because nobody was necessarily over in this region of land until our people came over here.
That's not true. Cherokee and Lenape, bro.
That's what.
Look,
No, I'm saying your people were the original people over here in this landmass. That's what I'm saying.
What time frame are you talking about?
We're talking. This is 722 BC, right? So this is taking place after 722 BC because that's when they were put in servitude and slavery.
I know that Cherokee and Lenape.
So you're telling me right now that you could, without the Holy Bible?
They follow astrology. They watch the sun in the sky. They watch the whole zodiac thing. That's talking about how the sun travels in the sky, right? Okay. That infinity symbol. That's the path the sun makes in the sky to its traverse.
Right, and that's how they went off through idolatry. Is because they sat there and started to worship these different things.
No, these I'm sorry, but
do you believe in the Bible?
I'm saying no because I'm talking about what the people that lived 3,000, 4,000, 7,000 years before us mapped out and passed down to their children. All right, so like that whole Jesus died on the cross. Jesus is a representation of the Son. Right? We were trying to teach ourselves. We were trying to teach us.
What do you mean by that? What sources would you provide for such a thing?
What I was taught from my Cherokee tribe and my Lenape tribe. I'm telling you, I'm from this land. I'm of this land.
Nobody's disagreeing with you, but
no, I'm not arguing. I'm just
saying, like,
so
I got you.
What I'm saying is,
I acknowledge that your people were the original people over in this land. You're native to this land. I'm agreeing with you, brother, but you're disagreeing with me.
From this land, we weren't pushed here. That's what I'm saying.
So there were people. What your point is that you have proof outside of the Holy Bible, the Scriptures. You have proof outside of the Scriptures that your people were dwelling over here before 722 BC.
My lineage, yeah. We've been studying the stars for hundreds of thousands of years. We know that. Like this whole thing they call it zodiac, this whole thing they're saying like in the paper, oh, this is how you're supposed to associate with someone. That's yes. What the zodiac is the sun's at the center, right? And then there's shapes that we mapped out in the stars so that we can recognize it, right? And we call those constellations. But like every 1,840 something years, we call an age. That's how long it takes for the sun to make a path through those constellations, right? So we say like it's 2,000 years to round up. But like in 2012, we went from the age of Pisces to the age of the water bearer, right? Now this age is the age where all the ice and stuff that's on the earth, like the polar ice caps, the permafrost, like that stuff melts.
So
the reason it does that is because the rich land that's being held together by permafrost falls into the ocean. The water levels rise and they revitalize the earth.
So are you speaking in accordance to like your calendar or different stuff of that nature?
I'm talking.
I'm asking out of.
I'm trying not to sound argumentative. That's why I had to stop for a minute because I'm very passionate and I just want to be heard when I'm saying it. Like
I was just asking a separate point. I understand
people
what you're saying.
in my tribes you know what I mean, that existed well before any of this was a concept. You know what I mean? They mapped out. They didn't have screens like this to stare at all day. They looked at nature. They saw the figure 8 shape. That represents the path the sun makes in the sky when it's traversing through the...
Can we bring this up real quick?
Let me bring this up. Well, I'm a point for point, real quick, real quick.
Shut up.
First thing, when you're talking about the ice caps and everything, you're referring to Pangea. But what's that word after Pangea? Pangea theory. That's it.
Can you explain Pangea to me?
Pangea is you're saying that you were able to travel across the ice cap, travel across the ice because it was all connected and you were able to come. Well, there's only 2 theories that are out here as to how your people got to America.
No, I'm not talking about the theory, bro. I'm talking about
okay, there's only 2 explanations as to how your people got here.
I didn't learn from
One is through boat, and the other one is through by walking, and that goes back to the Pangea theory.
See, I don't think that's a hijack of our history.
No, it is, but
came from here. Look,
well, let me hear from your own people. Let me hear from your ancestors.
But the truth of the fact is that we were here as far as long as anybody knows. We were here just as long as anybody knows people were.
Let me get the history. Let me get the history according to their people. Right. This is Chief Joseph. Chief Joseph was a chief of the Cherokee. He says that, well, he was found with an Assyrian tablet in Star of Ashur that was proof of purchase of a lamb for the purpose of sacrifice that was passed down to him, further proving they are the Northern Kingdom Israelites who left Assyrian captivity. If what these brothers have been saying, that your people got here after the Assyrian captivity, how is it that Chief...
That's how we got tricked into selling Manhattan.
No, brother.
We didn't understand the concept of purchasing something. That wasn't with us.
So you have to say Chief Joseph is lying.
I have to say the person that put that information on this website for you,
I'll just show you the picture. I'll just show you Chief Joseph. We can show you Chief Joseph.
Yeah, and it's like I'm telling you, only from my experience can I speak. And my experience that I speak of comes from hundreds of thousands of years of my ancestors researching the world around them. They didn't read books, they didn't have screens, they didn't make purchases, no sense of currency, okay? The land, the earth, the world. We didn't call it earth, we called it world. People from the world were called worldly. You notice in the Bible, it talks about sinners and worldly people, right? We called the people that call themselves white. We called the people that call themselves white moon crickets. You know why? Look, we found out that everything is a vibration, right? Everything moves like a vibration, right? These planets that we call them planets, they're going back and forth into a zone that's a distance from the sun that could actually support life. When a planet drifts out of that zone, life on that planet dies, right? The people that call themselves white, the ones that we call moon crickets, we call them moon crickets because they jump.
So what's you're making a lot of claims, but I'm trying to figure out.
It's not a claim, man. Like, that's what I'm saying.
You're not making a claim right now? I'm making claims, you're making claims, we're coming to some type of compromise. You understand? That's how dialogue works, so you're making a claim.
It's what I've learned from my ancestors. From the people that existed before me, they pass it down, right?
But the only thing that you can tell me is
that's how we knew how many planets there were. That's why we named them what they were.
So you could prove to me right now, right? All the claims that you have made, I'm gonna call them claims because I'm making claims on my defense as well, right? That's just how a dialogue works. I have my side, you have your side. We're coming to a compromise. We're coming to some type of understanding, right? That's how it works. That's what I'm gonna refer to it as, okay? It's not to be offensive or anything of that nature. But
and again,
what's the substantiation? What's the substantiation of the points that you are making? I just want to see some type of living proof. Yes, I want to see what type of proof that you could bring up. Do you believe in the Holy Bible? I didn't mean to ask that question earlier. Yes, do you believe in the Bible?
I've read 12 versions, and the one that makes the most sense is the one that comes out of Ethiopia. It seems to be the one that wasn't changed.
Do you believe in the Bible though? That doesn't answer my question.
Define belief.
Do you subscribe to it? Do you believe in it? Do you bear witness with it?
Believe in Jesus.
I'm only repeating this in my own words to see if I grasp what you're asking.
Go ahead.
So you're saying, do I think that the words in this book are absolutely true?
Do you believe in the Father and the Son, right? Do you believe in these things? Do you subscribe to them? Do you believe in the Most High God? There's a power, there's an entity, right? That is controlling divine things.
I know, but we don't have.
And do you believe in His Son? That's really what I'm asking.
This is what I was trying to explain by going through what I was going through, right?
Brother, is it yes or no?
No, it's not, because you're asking me a question the way that politicians ask. They call it gaslighting, right? Like, look, the questions you just asked for a yes or a no from me.
Right.
All right. There can't be a yes or a no between us because we have different definitions of the words you're using to communicate.
Well, I said Father.
Right. So what I'm saying,
Creator. Do you believe in
what I'm telling you is that the concept of God the Father is the energy that animates life. That's what my people call it.
So you believe in there as a creator.
The entity that you're calling God the Son is what my people call the sun in the sky. All right, the sun brings life to earth. Okay, just like the Son of God sacrificed Himself for all of our lives. You know what I mean? That's what the Son is to us. All right, so this God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. God the Holy Spirit is supposed to be our soul. Right? Medical science, they teach you that your heart is chambered, right? The two chambers of your heart in science.
So your answer is basically that you believe in the elements, sort of say.
That the soul resides in those bottom two chambers.
Okay.
And the soul is energy that comes from the sun. You know, when we stand in the sun. Who creates
energy?
That's what you're asking. You're asking for a creator.
Isn't energy created though?
How do they call that?
Energy has to have origin.
Personify something. God the Father, it's a personification of something.
I mean, but it's a simple question though. Energy has a source, doesn't it?
But the answer is far from that. And that's what I'm trying to illustrate.
The energy has a source, doesn't it?
No, the energy is the source. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Energy has an origin or a beginning is my point, is what I'm saying. It doesn't?
Energy exists absolutely.
That's what I got.
That's why our soul, when our body dies, our soul goes on. Because it's energy.
Let's bring this up.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 of verse 2. This is from one of those books that was taken out and then we were able to put it back in. Surely in vain are all men. So like I started in verse 1. Verse 2. But deem either fire or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world.
It said what?
To be the gods which govern the world.
Right? Those are the things that you will refer to as God, because that's what you literally said. You said the Son is what you believe to be the Son, the God the Son.
I'm saying that the Son is what was taken to be translated as the Son of God in this book. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's what we're saying right now.
Right.
Let me we're on the same page. Good. I have to be sure, man.
Surely,
saying stuff that don't be
surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of God.
It said what?
Who are ignorant of God, and could not, out of the good things that are seen, know Him that is.
It said what?
Know Him that is.
Just because you see these different things, it doesn't mean that you understand the things that are behind it. Right. There's an origin for all of these things, man. Just because we see the sun, it doesn't mean that that's what we give praise, honor, and glory unto. We worship more of the creations rather than the Creator. That's the problem. We keep on worship. What do you mean?
I don't worship.
That's what you just referred to as your
Father. Worship is not our word. I'm telling you that this book.
So you're playing semantics right now. That's what's really getting me kind of upset a little bit, because you're playing semantics. You know what I'm saying?
African American, Black, Indigo, Indian, Indonesian. Those are semantics, right?
Okay.
All right. So,
but you just said that your word that you don't use is worship. That's not semantics. It's not playing words.
For us, the words for our people are semantics. What I'm saying to you is that those people that created those words for us have created a concept of personification.
Okay, so what do you call what do you refer to as worship modern day? What do you refer to?
I don't worship. That's what I'm saying.
What do you refer to as? I'm asking you a question.
No, I'm saying that I don't. The action of worshiping something.
So praise.
Not what we do.
What about praise?
We don't. We give
reverence.
Thanks. We give thanks. Like
reverence is a form of thanks.
When we are able to live off of our land, because life comes from the earth, so we refer to earth as a woman.
Life comes from the Most High God. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That's the point that we're trying to get. There's
Trees grow out of the earth.
a creator behind all these creations.
The things that we eat comes out of the earth, right?
Go to Colossians chapter 1.
All right, so we call the earth a mother because it gave birth to life that sustains us. Right?
I think you're going.
Okay, so
I see it.
this energy that animates life, that a part of it is in us, in the bottom two chambers of our heart. That's what a soul
I want
is.
to finish this out real quick, man.
Like that energy is what this book is calling God the Father. That existence of that solar being of the sun is what this book is calling God the Son. But we don't personify it. We don't worship the sun.
Okay, you can finish.
We don't worship the energy that animates life.
Okay.
Here's the point. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the work master. So in other words, we are acknowledging the things that exist in the heavens, because we can see those with our eyes, but we don't acknowledge or even consider that there's a force behind those things which formed them, which set their course across the skies, which gives us the ability and the sense and the keen knowledge to be able to look at these things, which your people are known to do, and map them in and understand their goings and the ways by looking at these stars and these suns. It's not the heavenly bodies, it's the force behind it, what the brother is saying.
Right. Again, what that verse is saying is that you shouldn't be worshiping that stuff because there's a higher power behind it. But what I'm saying is that God the Father, that higher power you're talking about, we understood, we acknowledge it. It's what is our soul. We're a part of it. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's not a source of that. That is.
When I just asked you that earlier, you said that the Father that you refer to him as is energy.
I was trying to explain to you that this book is making a human being out of something that's not human. It's calling God the Father something that isn't a father. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This energy that animates life is not. It's not human.
So
it's not.
When we're reading out of the Holy Scriptures, everything that we pretty much went through with verifying the fact that King James, all he did was transliterate the manuscripts and different stuff of that nature.
I can't.
All right. So I'm not gonna go ahead and shame you for that, right? I can't, right? But these things were transliterated off of the manuscripts and the tablets and different stuff of that nature. You understand? Right? And so we understand these words to be true. You're saying that it's the world's belief that puts personification into the scriptures, but we're reading an unadulterated version of the Bible because all that took place with this scripture, or with these scriptures, right, was transliteration. That's why we went through that with King James earlier on in the conversation. That's the reason why I leveled the playing field with that first and foremost. Because if we want to continue to go tit for tat, if you don't believe in the words that we're reading out of the Holy Scriptures, no point in me bringing precepts out if you don't even believe in the things in this Bible to be true.
I know that when I read the Ethiopian Bible, it wasn't like the King James version.
Are you familiar with the Tinsdale Bible or the Vulgate?
Vulgate, yeah.
Okay, what about the Tinsdale?
But I'll read that within this section.
Right, so these are things that actually predate the Ethiopian Bible. Right, so, and these are things that were used in efforts to come together and create the King James Version. You understand? Right, I would really, it would behoove you to kind of do a little bit of research on that, because you say you read a lot. You say you do a lot of research and different stuff of that nature.
For your sources, so I can go back and read.
Right. Hey, Yarpon, you got that source from earlier? He was asking about it, right? You could give it to him on the side. I was just asking. I knew you got to let out, right? But you went into your first point, right? So it will behoove you to just go into these different things, because we're not going to get anywhere until you get to a good understanding of where we're coming from with the scriptures. Because if I'm bringing out scriptures and you don't believe these words to be true, and all you're going to do is disannul them, there's no point in us really holding a conversation. It's not a fair living playing field.
I know that the Bible itself is really meant to teach us about the world, like how it became to be, how it formed.
Yeah, the word is given for inspirational proof, doctrine.
How we spread around it. That's what the Old Testament was about. And the New Testament was about our celestial existence, about how things work celestially, about how, like, the 4 seasons, the 12 zodiacs or phases of Earth goes through. It's the same thing. We have ice ages, you know what I mean? we have water ages. You know what I mean? That's what we just say with that.
Right. So
that is.
My whole thing is that, okay.
So
when we're coming, look, this is not. One thing that I also want to clarify is that this is not something that's typical. It's not Christianity or anything of that nature. It's not a religion, right? It's not a falsehood that we've been taught over spans of years. You understand? When we're going through these scriptures, we're going through the scriptures according to what the Most High is saying explicitly. You understand? And using precepts and other scriptures within the Bible, right, and many other sources that have taken place throughout history, which are holding to be true, right, to prove what we are saying, right, and what we are stating, right. I wanted to say that because of the fact that we have to make sure that we're not mixing, you understand, fabrics and different wines and different stuff of that nature with these philosophies and these theories, because that's what other people like to do a lot of the times. I understand that you say you hear what you heard the word of mouth.
yeah,
right?
because that's how a lot of people work, man.
Right. Real quick, I'm gonna just finish making my point there. Right. It's important that we don't mix this Bible with a lot of these other philosophies and theories that have came about from days of old.
You use this word and it seems derogatory. What do you mean by philosophy?
Philosophies are inventions of man, right? Or things that have been created by man or put forth, or what's the word I should use?
We have different definitions of this word. Now I understand what you've been saying.
Doctrines, basically. You understand that's been things that are created. You understand by man and not necessarily intended to be subscribed to in a true sense, so to say. Right? So it's important to make sure that we're not mixing up multiple things and just making this big concoction, because that's where a lot of confusion comes in. A lot of the things that you were bringing up.
Our people don't read. You know what I mean? I'm Cherokee and Lenape. I'm talking about my people. Our people don't read. Like, we pass down knowledge through word of mouth and experience.
Okay, so real quick.
So that's how we do it. I live in this world where slavery is getting a job. You know what I mean? That's indentured servitude. I don't know if you read the contracts you sign your name to when you get a job for pay. That's exactly what it is, right?
We understand that.
We didn't do that.
Yeah, he did.
We lived off the earth. The people who call themselves white, when they killed 80% of us and took over the land, they made it a point to destroy the earth that we were living off of, the area we were living off of, or even if we lived off animals,
so
to try to make close to extinct those animals.
Right.
Like,
I don't mean to interrupt.
Well, the point is, in the same way that they did that with the knowledge that we passed down through word of mouth. They hijacked it. They wrote down what was true, and they added what was false, and we accepted all of it.
My thing is, and this is the last statement I'm going to make before I pass it to the next speaker, right? My thing is that you say all these things as if we agree with those things. We understand that, right? That things have been taken, right, as far as the truth, right, and hidden and stuffed and covered up and made something else. You understand, which is falsehood, right? We understand these different things, but what we're trying to say is that these scriptures that we're reading out of is not one of those things, and we're trying to prove that and help you get better enlightened with that knowledge and understanding. When we're going through these scriptures, that's not one of the things that we're going into that has been falsely hidden. What we're going into is truth. What we're going into is facts, you understand, that have been substantiated and proven. That's what we're diving into, and that's all I'm trying to get you to understand, because
I don't think you believe that
I'm going to pass
the word of mouth history is a fact. I think you believe that written history is a fact, and word of mouth is hearsay. And
word of mouth is also a way that
on a better level than we are.
Look, hold on. Because the Israelites, a lot of the things that they did, but there was still history recorded. You understand? We still had scribes that recorded these different things that were said, right? We also spoke through word of mouth. We also learned through word of mouth. You understand? But they were also recorded. You understand? So this way, we were able to go back to those records and get a good understanding. You don't believe it? You don't agree with that?
It's just there's lies in the truth, man. And I think that you have a lot of truth. You have a lot of truth. You have a lot of truth that you've learned and you're trying to share, and I appreciate that.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to the next speaker, though, because my time is up. That's all.
Things that you said were lies being fed to you inside of truth.
But you would have to prove those things to be lies, is my whole point.
I don't have to prove anything.
I'm asking you to, if we're having a dialogue.
What I'm hoping from this situation will happen is that you will think and then go and research and then come to a different conclusion.
I got one last question. How could you persuade me if I'm in the wrong? How could you persuade me?
I don't think you're in the wrong. I think
you said I've been fed lies though.
I think that some of the stuff that's in this book, I think that some of it has been tainted. I think that you know what's up, and that somebody has told you something that isn't up as well, and that you're taking it all instead of just the part that's true.
My point is that how could I be persuaded to change and to do better if you're not going to prove these things wrong?
I'm just here to make you think. I'm not here trying to persuade you for anything. I'm like, look, I know where I come from.
Don't you love me?
I know my heritage.
Don't you love me?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that would be love. That would be love. Absolutely. To correct your brother if he's going off, if he's doing wrong.
Also
to reprove your brother.
To give him the want or the will to find out for himself. Because if you believe what I say and you don't research it, then I failed.
But you have to give me something to research. That's my point.
You have to ask questions.
I've been asking questions, brother.
The point was go Ducks. That's what I heard.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to the next mic speaker. With that, I'm gonna say, "Come here, Charlotte.
Come here, Charlotte.
Come here, Charlotte. Come here, Charlotte."
8 hours later, 1 minute 37 seconds. 8 hours later, 1 minute 37 seconds. 8 hours
did everybody on the earth go into slavery on ships?
37 seconds.
Who went into slavery on ships, brother? That's right.
Crazy.
For yourself, know perfectly that the day of the Lord is coming as a thief in the night. What? As a thief in the night.
Thief in the night. Right. The Lord is gonna come as a thief in the night, man. Nobody knows when the Lord is gonna come back. Right. Nobody knows.
This the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Right. The wisdom of the Lord, man, right, and the wisdom of life is more moving than any motion, man, right? And that's what the Lord has given us to speak for our people, man, right? And that thing is gonna move you more than anything, man, right? It's gonna move you more than damn weed, right? It's gonna move you more than that damn Hennessy bottle, right? It's gonna sit there and move you more than damn Keisha, Letitia, right? And all these damn heathenistic women, man. Right.
Oh, you're going crazy.